Welcome to the Advaita Decoding Reality podcast. This is the first episode of this podcast, and I heartily welcome you to this podcast. And I want to first of all thank you for tuning in. Before we go ahead, I would like to take a few minutes to introduce myself and introduce this podcast. I am Sujun Shetty. I'm an architect from India. I have my practice and I also run my business. And for more than a decade, I wanted to understand the nature of reality. I always had this burning questions about the nature of reality, about what is God, about whether God exists, who I am, what is my purpose, what is this life about, what will happen once we die. So these were all the philosophical questions that always used to come up in my mind. And I think most of us can resonate to this. Most of us get these questions from time to time, and these questions urge us to find answers. But what happens is, once we get a degree and once we get a job and once we are involved with the activities of life, these questions fade away to the background. But every now and then, when you pick up an interesting book or watch an intriguing movie, these questions surface again and you are curious to find answers to them. For me, finding answers to these questions was very important. And for that, I started reading a lot of books, listening to a lot of teachings and audiobooks and seminars, etc., to understand the nature of reality. I basically wanted to know what this life is about. And I also wanted to know how can I create my life consciously the way I want, without surrendering to life based on how it is. I wanted to take charge of my life and create my life the way I wanted. And I also wanted to understand what life is. I wanted to understand who I am and what this universe is about. Along my journey, as I said, I looked at various books, various teachings, starting from the ancient Indian teachings of Vedas and Upanishads to the modern Western teachings of law of attraction, manifestation, conscious living, etc. So I started consuming a lot of knowledge in order to find out the nature of reality. And of course, some of the teachings and some of the teachers that I came across were really profound, and they helped me understand a part of this reality. Along my journey, I came across the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta. Advaita is a Sanskrit word which literally translates to non-dualism. Non-dualism simply means that this entire existence as we see it and as we perceive it is an illusion. The duality in this world that we perceive is an illusion, and the real actual nature of existence or the nature of reality is that it is non-dual. It is one pure consciousness which is being experienced in infinite number of ways. Of course, we will go very deep into this and we will explore different ancient texts and different modern philosophies in the coming episodes. But to tell you what this podcast is going to be about, it is going to be about decoding the ancient scriptures and ancient texts, especially from India, the texts pertaining to the Vedas and Upanishads and various Prakarana Granthas, which are the philosophical texts and teachings composed by great philosophers and teachers. Along with this, we will also look at the modern concepts of manifestation, law of attraction, how to create our lives consciously the way we desire in order to live a comfortable and joyful life. So in this podcast, we will understand what consciousness is, and we will also understand why quantum physicists and modern scientists are struggling to explain the nature of consciousness, and how the ancient texts have the answers to the modern questions. And also we'll look at systematically understanding the nature of reality and understanding what this universe is about. And by doing that, we will understand what God is, we will understand the nature of self, which is basically who you are, and we will understand the process of conscious creation, which is basically taking charge of our destiny and creating our lives consciously the way we want it to be. And I think this is very important for each and one of us to live a joyful, fulfilled life. If you want to go more deep into these topics, I recently published my book Decoding God, which is available on Amazon. So this is the first book in the Decoding Reality series. Here I go deep into the concept of God, how it has evolved, and the final answer to the question, does God exist? And if so, what is God and what is the proof of God? And for those of you who want to go further, we have also created a community cum learning platform where one can go into these topics in depth, talk to different people who are interested in this topic, and understand various teachings about the nature of reality and ancient Indian texts. We call this community platform as the Advaita Conscious Society. So you can join this community by visiting advaita.com. That is adhvaitha.com. So this episode was basically about introducing this podcast to you. I hope you have got a sense of what this is going to be about. Basically, it is going to be about understanding the nature of reality, the nature of self, and about understanding how to consciously create our lives the way we desire. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you on the next episode.